I hate everything about you. Part 2. I could not sleep that night. I kept looking at the text he sent me and thinking about the kiss that we shared. Maybe he just did that to shut me up and I was just overthinking the whole situation. But if there was one person that I could not lie to, it was myself. Because that kiss felt good. I wish that it had been bad or felt wrong. I did not know how to respond to him. No problem, buddy. No one will ever know. It's our little secret. Of course, I did not send that to him, but what the hell? Now was keeping secrets with the enemy? My mother would kill me if she found out. But she would not find out, because no one had seen us, and it would never happen again. Right? Just as I was getting some sleep, my mother woke me up and told me to get ready. It was already 12 p.m., which I knew was a lie, but I got up anyways. It was the annual fair today, and our family had to attend, and so did Doug's family, which meant that I had to face him sooner or later. I saw him later that day. Our families got assigned to tables next to each other. We were both selling food, and the proceeds would go to charity. He waved at me when no one was watching, and I waved back tentatively. I could not help looking at him when he was looking away. At the way his muscles tensed as he made the food. Those same hands had been on me last night. Hey, get out of dreamland. Can you not see the line of customers? Pass me the sauce, my mother said. I suffered through it for a little bit longer, and then we went back home. But I could not stop thinking about him. I was so aware of him at the fair, and I did not want to be. It was all his fault for kissing me. I decided that I was going to confront him on Monday. But when I saw him at school on Monday, I felt really shy and I could not bring myself to come closer to him. When he looked at me with those honey eyes, I remembered that kiss. So I avoided him like the plague. My best friend Nick, who noticed everything, was the only one who noticed how different I was acting. Did not even have one rude exchange with Doug today. What gives? He asked. I don't feel like talking to him. He isn't very annoying today. Oh, really? Are you starting to like him? Will he replace me as your best friend? He wiggled his eyebrows. But being dramatic. I did not say that we are cool. Plus, he helped my sister out on Friday night, I explained. Fair enough, if you say so. You've just been acting weird when he's around. That is all, he shrugged. At practice, I tried to stay out of his way, and I succeeded for a very long time. For weeks, we had little to no interaction, and were civil to each other. But then one day, our coach called the both of us in. You've been working well together for the past few months. I'm proud of you. As you know, we're nearing the end of the football season, and I want to give the both of you an opportunity to attract scouts, he started. How so, coach? Doug asked. In a few weeks, we're playing against Montgomery High, and if we win, we're going to take state championships. The great part, there will be scouts there, so I need the both of you to get yourselves and the team prepared. Mainly yourselves, he said. Got it, coach, I said. Good, I will need you two to practice a bit harder, and to work with me to come up with team strategies. This means you'll be spending extra time with each other, he said. Well, damn, there went my dreams of avoiding him till graduation. Is that really necessary, coach? I asked. Very much so. You'll be practically living together. The Montgomery Giants are very good. I need you to be very prepared. Okay, coach. Got it, coach. I said. Inside, I was dying. I did not want to spend more time with him than was required. But I did want to impress the scouts, so I guess we had no choice but to work with each other. I did not hate him as much, but he still made me feel awkward, so I was not rushing to spend time with him. Want to put in extra practice on Tuesday and Saturday? On Tuesday, we'll be with the team, and on Saturday, we'll be just the two of us, he suggested. Fair enough, I guess, I said. Okay, no problem. I'll text you, he said. And so then we began to practice together. At first, it felt a bit awkward, since we were no longer bitter rivals. I did not know how to act towards him. I was nice to him for the first time, and he was nice to me too. We spoke about things other than football during our breaks, and that was when I found out that I did not really know him. I thought I had him figured out as my bitter rival who was always trying to beat me on everything, but I was so wrong. But through talking to him, I found out that he actually had a gentle heart. One day, I decided to address the elephant in the room, at least part of the elephant. Hey, I know I overreacted that night. I said things that I should not have, and I'm sorry, I said. I forgive you. I get it. You were just trying to protect your little sister. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I should have not just taken what Roderick said that way, I said. Well, you know that he's a troublemaker. He will take every opportunity that he can to cause trouble. He did want to be captain very badly, he sighed. Yeah, and thanks for helping my sister out, which reminds me, she still has your jacket, doesn't she? I said. It's okay, I have a spare, he grinned. Then one day, during team practice, I noticed that he was not in the best mood. He had been snapping at everyone for the whole day. I pulled him aside after the practice because I was concerned about him. Doug, are you okay? You do not seem well, I pointed out. It's nothing, just family drama, he said. Let me guess, your mom? I asked. How did you know? He raised an eyebrow. There's a certain type of anger that is caused by moms, I guess, I said. Sometimes I feel as if I will never be good enough for her, like I'm just a trophy son to her, she said. Like she has to put so many expectations on you, but does not bother checking if you can cope. Exactly like that. I love her a lot, but sometimes I want her to stop using me to compete with the rest of the world, you know? I knew exactly what he was talking about. I loved my mom, but she had a hold over me that I could not escape no matter what. I was suddenly struck with the urge to embrace him, so I pulled him in for a hug. It was my first time being so close to him ever since our kiss. I could not get over how good the hug felt. I felt safe, not so alone anymore. No one had ever made me feel like that in my life before. Thank you, he said. And then he leaned in closer to me and gave me a peck on the lips. I felt like I wanted more, so I brought him closer to me and we were locked in an embrace. All the tension that I had been feeling for the rest of the day faded into nothing, and all I could focus on was him. When we pulled away from each other, I felt empty once again. I thought we agreed to never do that again, he said. We agreed not to tell anyone, I smirked. And I thought you hated me, he sighed. Maybe we were taught to hate each other. I kissed him on the cheek and I got up to leave. The truth was, in that time we spent with each other, I had begun to doubt the feelings that I had for him in the past. My mother called him arrogant, but he helped my sister out when he should have been the last person to help her. I was kind of tired of being taught how to feel, to be honest. So when no one was around and it was only us, we would kiss. I never spoke about what it meant. I think we were both scared to commit to anything. I do not know how, but I ended up caring about him. Seeing him became the highlight of my day. I looked forward to football practice every day, especially on Saturday when it was just the both of us and no one else. Despite the physical attraction between us, we connected emotionally. I started to open up to him more than I did to everyone, not even my best friend. He understood exactly where I was coming from and how difficult it was to work under pressure. One night, I was lying in bed after helping out at my family's restaurant when he called me and asked me to meet him at the end of my street. I was curious about what he wanted, so I went. It was a bit windy and dark outside. Why did you call me here? I asked him as soon as I got into his father's car. Nothing too hectic. I miss you, is all. He smiled. I could swear that you're getting addicted to me, I smirked as I moved closer to him. I took his hand and started drawing circles in his palm. I cannot sleep, that is why. I asked you to come here, he said. Am I keeping you from sleeping? I teased. Oh, grow up, Aiden, he rolled his eyes. No, actually, it's a week before the big game. Before he said it, it hit me. After that game, we only had a few games to play. That would be if we did well enough to get into the championships, and then we would go to college. I could not believe that the year was nearly over, and after it, we would go our separate paths. I sort of felt it, that impending separation from the guy who used to be my enemy, but was now my trusted confidant. What then? We keep in contact? I asked. I do not know. It's difficult to keep secrets in this town. And if our families found out, he said. What is there to be found out, though? I said. You're right. It's not like we're in love or anything. We're just fooling around. We both like girls, right? He looked at me for reassurance. Of course we do. It will come to an end. No one has to know, I grinned. What I did not tell him was that sometimes I needed more from him. I called myself straight, but I found no appeal in girls anymore. I was sure that I never had in the first place. Even those brief romances had not given me the fire that he gave me. That passionate hate which turned into wanting. Wanting his body, wanting his attention. But it would all come to an end soon. We would go our separate ways and everyone would never find out. I had to protect my heart at all costs. Neither of us could afford to fall in love. No need to worry about the future now, is there? Now for what I called you here for, he said as he pulled me closer to him. My lips met with his and he ignited me. No one made my body feel that way, other than him. I tugged at his hair and he groaned into my mouth, causing me to want more of him. I pulled off his shirt to reveal his ripped abdomen. I ran my hands down his stomach and felt him gasp. Hands are cold, he chuckled. Not why you're shivering, I whispered as I trailed his collarbone. He groaned and looked at me, his honey eyes darkening. He pulled me closer to his stomach and I started kissing up and down it. Gosh, you're such a tease, he whispered. I just laughed. The next thing I knew, he had pushed me back into my seat and taken control of me. Due to us being in the car, he was super close to me, and I heard his heart beating fast. My breath caught at the sudden sensation that I was feeling. I was so caught up in the lust, the need to feel his body, to get closer to him in a way that I had never done before. I want to go all the way, I whispered. Are you sure? He asked me. Yes, I'm sure. I want to be with you in any way that I can, I said. Good, because I want you, he said as he lightly bit my neck. As his hand was making its way down to my pants, I suddenly heard a click. I pushed him off instantly. He had parked at the corner of my street, but there was a huge tree over the spot. His lights were turned off, but I could have sworn that I saw a light flicker. Did you hear that? I asked. Yes, do you think that's someone? He suggested. I hope not, otherwise we will be screwed. I was shaken as the thought of the possibility that we had been caught. Neither of our families would approve if they found out. I think I need to go, I said as I put on my shirt. I said goodbye to him and got out of the car. Did not turn back. I ran all the way back home. I heard his car starting behind me. No one had seen me go out, and I hoped that no one would see me getting in. I successfully got past my parents in the living room and was opening the door when suddenly my sister said, "Where were you?" I turned to look at her. She was standing there with a smirk on her face. Out, I said shortly. With who? She probed further. What's wrong with you? Are you a detective or what? I snapped. Nothing, just wondering why you were wearing a different shirt than the one you were wearing before. She raised an eyebrow. I had to admit, she got me there. The perks of having a nosy little sister who was super smart. Well, if you must know, Alyssa, I went for a jog. I changed my t-shirt because it was sweaty, I said slowly. Well then, why? She did not get a chance to finish speaking because I slammed the door in front of her face. If I stood there for one more second, she was probably going to tell me that I smelled different or something. And now that I thought of it, his shirt smelled just like him. He had a very subtle smell, which I liked. Before I went to bed, I shot him a text. Well, that was sort of thrilling. Doug, as long as we do not get caught, next time we need a place that's less out of view. Me, so there will be a next time? Doug, obviously. I would love to finish what we started. Me, I'll be looking forward to it then. Doug sent me a heart. My heart kind of beat a little faster when I received the last text from him. I fell asleep happy and excited for the next time I would sneak out to see him, but I feared my heart was getting involved. The next morning, I woke up with about 1,000 text messages and missed calls from my friends. I wondered if something had happened while I was asleep. I checked the messages and my heart stopped. It was a picture of me and Doug in his father's car, locked in an embrace. It was bad. My mind flashed back to last night and the person I thought I had seen. It must have been someone who took a photo of us, and it was everywhere. I had messages from nearly everyone in the team asking me if it was true or Photoshop. Then I got one from my sister. She said, "You could have told me. I would have kept your secret." The worst thing possible had happened. We got caught red-handed and there was no denying what was going on between us because it was clear as day. Then I heard a loud knock on my door. I went to open it and found my mother standing there with a thunderous expression on her face. I wished that the ground would swallow me whole. Tell me that this is fake. What in the world, Aiden? How could you jump into bed with the enemy? She shouted. Well, Mom, She slapped me. To be continued. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force and stay wholesome.